Hello, and welcome back to my AlphaTauri driver career mode for the Imola GP. As we're going to be start off with choosing Lewis Hamilton as our rival. I mean, what is that pick? Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, or Lewis Hamilton? Who do they think I am? George Russell? Bro, I'm driving an AlphaTauri. We're 6th or 7th in the performance ranking, going up against teams that's like 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. What the hell is that? Or 1st, 2nd, and 4th, rather. But getting a few upgrades in for the Imola GP. Hopefully, a lot of upgrades there. Hopefully, able to shoot our car up the order. A little bit of failures on there. We get a powertrain department event, which I believe we are going to accept in this thing, as to be honest I have no clue what it was for, as the game doesn't tell you anymore. We're now getting into qualifying once again, doing the full qualifying, not just Jeddah. It wasn't a one-off, it is going to be staying around for the entirety of this series, forever long I do it. I want to get through all 10 teams by the time F1 2023 comes out, but they keep putting it earlier and earlier, so I doubt that's going to happen. But hopefully we'll be able to get a few seasons in. I am enjoying recording it. Well, I was. We won't talk about that. That comes later. But for now, Imola, first lap in qualifying. Mercedes up ahead of us. We got an Alpine. I believe that's an Alpine. It looks really dull on the map. But I believe we've got an Alpine ahead of us. As you can see, at this point, Imola's not my best track for hot lapping. I have improved since. I'm a lot better at Imola now. I think it's my second best track. It was one of my worst, but for now, I have made a few setup tweaks. Normally I use the... Oh, we're 1.1 seconds off, that's not good. Normally I would use the time trial setups, but I chose to make my own for once, and it's actually working quite well, but it is mainly focused on race pace rather than quali pace. You can see we're down in P20 on the grid. If we stay there, we're going to have a lot of work to do in the sprint race, so we're hopefully going to be able to improve 3 tenths up out of the first corner. Really, I hate watching things that I filmed like a month ago and still like cringing about how bad my driving was. Yeah, I was so bad through Villeneuve. It really pisses me off. But for now, oh god, I'm literally having like post-filming embarrassment from watching this qualifying lap. We're 5 tenths up. We're going to lose some on mid-corner. We're going to gain it on the exit. 5 tenths up on our laps. That puts us P80. Not the best, is it? Yeah. We're going to have to improve on that. We're going to go straight away again. We're actually a few hundredths up on this lap, but we are losing as the tyres do lose performance around the lap. We are another 5 tenths up on our lap. Can we find some more time coming out of the corners? We go up to 8 tenths up on our lap. That is where we are going to stay, as that puts us in P9 for the rest of the lap. We think I thought that might have been a bit good enough that time. I was very wrong. We're in P16 by, I believe it's about 2 tenths. So I think if we had gone out for that final lap, I wanted safe tires. If we'd gone out for that final lap, I think we would have been through. But let's get into this sprint race.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Russell, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Ricciardo, Norris, and Pierre Gasly, Schwartzman, Albon, Kevin Magnussen and Mick Schumacher, Vettel, the engineer, Lance Stroll and Guan Yu Zhou, Bottas and Yuki Tsunoda. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Okay guys, so in the sprint race we're doing what we normally do. We're playing it risky because we're down the order and we've got to catch up. We're starting on the softs. Only car on the soft tyres. AI haven't quite realised that they can go the entire lap distance yet of the 11 laps. They do fall off towards the end, but they're still pretty fast, and you can very easily defend around Imola against the cars. But we're now going to 5 red lights for the Imola sprint race. Ferrari locked out front row, and it's lights out, and we go green in Imola. Good start for us on the softs. Not quite the start we want. Stroll gets an amazing start on the mediums. Both Astons getting really good starts. So we break 0 points. Stroll makes it 3 wide up ahead, collides with his teammate. We've seen that before in real life. Stroll now up behind us again. We're going to try and go side by side with a Haas on these soft tyres, but we're not quite going to get there. Through Villeneuve, now coming up to Tosa. Can we make the dive of the Haas? We go for a ludicrous dive, and we're now side by side with the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel. Up the hill now, it's a drag race between ourselves and our old team Aston Martin. We're side by side. We have the inside for the corners. We're now up into P14 in this race, up 2 places at the start. Alex Albon in the Williams, our next competitor. Williams doing really well with Alex Albon in these recent races. He's really pushing that car beyond its limits. We can't quite make a dive into the chicane, taking not as much care as I normally would, not wanting to damage the car in these early stages of the race. We're not really that desperate yet, as now going on to the main straight. Big train along here. We can now see our teammate up ahead of us. I believe he started P12. He's up a place as well. We're going to have the run on this main straight. Can we get past Alex Albon? Straight line speed coming to our advantage. We're side by side with the Williams. Can we get past? We're going to try and out-drag him. We have the inside line. He hits us on the side. We get past the Williams. That's another place for us in this race. Lap 3 coming towards the chicane. We've closed the gap on the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. Gaps Alex Albon behind, so he's no longer in DRS as it is active now. ERS deployed, coming down to the 2 Lesmos at the bottom, as we are now going to see if we can have the run on Kevin Magnussen on the main straight. Ahead of him, our teammates. So hopefully we can try and play some games here to try and launch ourselves up the order. Hopefully maybe he lets us through because we're on the slots. We're going to try and go around the outside of Kevin Magnussen through turn 1 into turn 2, braking a bit late. He comes in and whacks us, tyre banging on the side roll there. Nothing too bad coming from that for us. Kevin Magnussen loses time to us, so we've gained from Magnussen hitting us. A little update in this race. Charles Leclerc leads from Carlos Sainz, from George Russell. Lewis Hamilton then leads Max Verstappen in 4th and 5th. And then there's a massive train of Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, Robert Schwartzman picking up the pieces after the last race. And Pierre Gasly, ourselves, Kevin Magnussen, and then Alex Albon are all in this one train, with then it being broken by Mick Schumacher. So P4 to 13 are in one train. That's actually kind of insane. And it's kind of cool as well, because it means I can use my straight line speed advantage a lot. So it's fun. Although we are losing out a bit on our ERS. We only have about 10% left at most times. So we're now going to see if we can get the run on Pierre Gasly, our teammate. See if he lets us through. He is in the exact same car as us, so the straight line speed should be exactly the same. So it's all about slipstream and ERS here. We've got the same slipstream, as we are going to have to stick behind him for another lap unless he makes a mistake somewhere around this track. As you can see, we're almost now in a train of P4 to P15, I believe. 14, 15. We ran wide there. Our soft tyres starting to go off a bit, but we're still holding strong in this race, as we're looking to maybe try and get past Pierre Gasly and try and maybe force our way up the order a bit. The 2 McLarens up there, they can play games with each other as well. So hopefully try and defend for their team's sake, as we're trying to do the exact same but force ourselves up the order. Maybe getting past Pierre Gasly at this point isn't really what we're going to want, but we're going to dive up the inside at the chicane. Risky move on our teammate of all people, as that's going to force him to lose a lot of time, but I was getting fed up of sitting behind the Frenchman. As we've now got Robert Schwartzman to try and overtake ahead of us. Not having the best start to the season is Schwartzman. Maybe not the best signing for Mercedes to sign the only rookie of this season to one of the top teams, which to me sounds completely and utterly ridiculous. But now it's a lap 8. Looking at our teammate, he's lost DRS to us. That might have been my fault, as he's now going to come under attack from Kevin Magnussen. He's going to go up the inside of our teammate. Gasly fights it back, but that's going to lose them a lot of time, as we've kind of just dropped Gasly in the mud here. As, yeah, probably not the best move to have made as his teammates. Now he's having to defend from 2 Hassan or Williams, and that's just allowing the cars behind to catch up. Again, as you can see, we're still on the back of Schwartzman. Might not have been the best decision for us. Through Aqua Minerale now, up the main street, trying to get on Schwartzman, but our engine once again has different plans, as we've had another engine failure. We've had 2 engine failures in the first 3 races, and I thought Alpine was supposed to be the ones with shit reliability. That's actually why, when we're getting good results, does our engine decide to blow up? That's actually, oh, that's so annoying. That is actually really annoying how we've had 2 retirements from 3 races. We should have so much more points than we do at the moment.
See how this result
oh
affects
well.
the drivers'
Charles
championship.
Leclerc wins
This
the
result
sprint
then
with
narrows
Carlos
the gap
Sainz is going to be
between our
Ferrari
championship leader
front row.
and the rest
Gasly
of
in
the
11th,
standings.
so
It's
no
time to
more
see how they-
overtaking for the Gasman, as we're going to be starting right at the back of the grid for tomorrow's feature race. That is just what you call annoying. We could have been starting P, whatever it was, P11, maybe P10, as it's our internal combustion engine that goes. We're going to have to take penalties, so we are going to take another full row of components. I don't see why not. We have the opportunity to. We may as well, as that's just going to put us from P20 to P20, but let's get into this race.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters wearing red today, and they've all turned out for what we're expecting will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 1 lap of Imola, anti-clockwise of course, unlike most Formula 1 circuits, will take our drivers around 3.1 miles of track. 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 to the left. Drivers will need to be precise at the hairpin at turn 7, given the subsequent uphill section. Without a good exit from that corner, they'll lose a lot of time on that stretch. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Norris, Ricciardo and Robert Schwartzman, Gasly, Magnussen, Mick Schumacher and Albon, Bottas, Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda and Guan Yu Zhou, Vettel and the engineer. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay guys, so obviously we took penalties. There is going to be no way we could go up the order from penalties. We took them ourselves. Starting P20, we've got everything to do on these medium tyres for our first stint, same as everyone else. I believe most people, well, everyone I can see is on the medium tyres, so take with that what you will. We've got it all to do in this start of this race. See maybe if we can make up a few positions. We might be able to get points in this race. I am not 100% sure, but now lining up on the grid, we once again got our tyres up to that pretty much optimum temperature that we always seem to like at these circuits. We set a 0.2 on our starting position. Ferrari locked out the front row. Red Bull in P3 as we go green in Imola. Lights run for an age, but we're away we go. Pretty bad start for us on the mediums. Pretty similar to the start we got on the softs in yesterday's sprint race, but for now, not what we wanted. We're going to dive up the inside of the Alfa Romeo, Zhou Guanyu. Aston Martin's once again fighting ahead, once again making contact. We make contact with the Alfa Romeo, but we still get the run on, I believe that's is that Lance Stroll, Sebastian Vettel? I honestly can't tell. I don't know. I believe it's Lance Stroll. You can see 2 numbers there. God, I need to work on my commentating skills. But we're up through into P18. A lot better car than the Aston Martin. So now side by side up ahead. The Alfa Romeo pulls up ahead. We then take the opportunity to go round the outside of Sebastian Vettel as we're now onto the back of Valtteri Bottas, hoping to make up some positions, maybe into the chicane, do a similar move that we did on Pierre Gasly in the sprint race, but we have a little bit of a snap on the exit, and that's going to ruin our momentum up into the chicane, and that's going to limit us to what we can do into the chicane, as now we have all to do to try and make up some more positions in this race. Good start. We're up 3 positions from where we started, as we're going to go have a cheeky look up the inside of Valtteri Bottas. Nothing is going to come from that, as we're now onto the main straight. DRS obviously not activated yet. It's only lap 2 and we're already up into P17. Nothing crazy's happened yet in this race, apart from a Red Bull getting into P1. Ferrari's having an abysmal start. We're being attacked by Sebastian Vettel. That's going to lose us time and make us dip a tyre onto the grass.
Right, we need to get past
Not
you.
entirely ideal, but it's also going to lose him time, as well as now into the main straight. We're fighting Valtteri Bottas as we're now through on the Alfa Romeo, as we now got both Williams ahead of us. They're hopefully not going to play too many games in this race, as that is going to be our main target, is getting past as we lock up and go completely wide through Villeneuve into Tosa now. Up the hill. Can we make up some ground on Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon? 2 the experienced drivers at the moment at Williams. Maybe they can, hopefully they can push Williams up the order a bit. Oh my god, the screen freezes there. I'm sorry, that was so bad. We now got the run on Yuki Tsunoda. Very dangerous, attacking the AI into turn 2 as they like to brake late and just collide with the siding. We found that in the sprint race, but Tsunoda waves us by and lets us through, as I'm pretty sure he knows that he can't fight our AlphaTauri in a Williams, which I believe is the worst car on the grid. But now a little race update now. Charles Leclerc battling with George Russell for P1. Verstappen right behind with Carlos Sainz sitting in P4. He's gone from P2 to P4. Red Bull's really strong on the race pace today. Lewis Hamilton right behind with Fernando Alonso is P1 to about, I believe it's P, ourselves in P15 is all in this one DRS train, which is kind of insane. You got like F1 esports style stuff. Tsunoda and Bottas fall behind us. That's why we have so much of a gap. We set the fastest sector 3. Can we set the fastest sector 1? Through turn 1, we're going past Alex Albon as he waves us by once again, getting past another easy Williams in this race up into P14, as he is now going to follow us, hopefully not for too long, as we try and get back up into this race for the fight for points for, well, I believe it's only the 2nd time this season that we're fighting for points, as yeah, that probably could have gone better, but who cares really. Oh, Kevin Magnussen with a massive spin there. Not what the Dane would have wanted in this race, but hey, can't do anything about that at this point, as now he's being under attack by the Williams. I believe that is Yuki Tsunoda, or is that Alex Albon? That must be Alex Albon, as you can see Alex Albon's beautiful helmet for the 2023 season in that car. But for now, lap 7, we have got the run on Mick Schumacher. We're up his inside at turn 1 and we're fully ahead as we get to the turn 2-3 chicane. And the next car up the road is our teammate, Pierre Gasly. As, yeah, we should hopefully have some pretty good pace in this race. As lap 9, we've managed to catch up to this train again, now led by the McLaren of, I believe it's Daniel Ricciardo. I'm going to say it's Daniel Ricciardo. I'm not sure. We now have Pierre Gasly in our sights. We get a good run out of the final turn. Can we get past Gasly? Yes, we can. He's kind of waving us by, giving us plenty of room as he knows we're probably a bit faster. We're still going to fight into turn 2. Try not wreck each other's races here, as that's the point I find the most hard about this game, is overtaking my teammate, because he always wants to fight me. You always want to be better than your teammate, so it's just kind of tit for tat here. But I was kind of hoping he'd let us through. He kind of did, but not completely. As now lap 10, we have Robert Schwartzman's Mercedes right ahead of us. He's in P9 or 10, I believe. I've really got to check these things, don't I? But for now, seeing if we can get past him into the chicane. Maybe might have to wait for the main straight, as, oh my god, this is so laggy. I'm so sorry, guys. This looks so bad. But now coming out to the final turn, we have Schwartzman ahead of us. I believe he doesn't have DRS. Oh, no, he does. I must have completely messed up. We are side by side with the Mercedes, going down to single digits worth of DRS to get past the Mercedes. But we are through and now have the McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo in our sights. We're now into the points for the first time in this race. There's yellow flags ahead, and that's Fernando Alonso out of this race. That's another free position for ourselves. What a shame for the Alpine, but it's extra positions for us, and it's the first time we've been in this point all weekend, as we now have Ricciardo right ahead of us, run a bit wide out of the final turn, but we're still going to try and maybe get past them in turn 2. Maybe not. We set off best lap of the race there, as Ricciardo still ahead of us. Ocon behind Schwartzman and Gasly fighting behind us. Now into the pits comes, I believe that's the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, as we're told to pit on the next lap. As you can see there, Hamilton boxing a lap earlier than most people. We go really deep into turn 2 to try and get past Daniel Ricciardo up into a net, I believe it's P8 once we box, as Lewis Hamilton is right there, maybe trying to get an undercut on the Ferraris that were ahead of him, as now they've caught up, as one of the Red Bulls is once again completely just disappearing up the road again. We come into the pits again. Jesus Christ, how did I not notice that when I was editing this? Into the pits we come. We're going to fit on a nice new set of the hard compound tyres. Probably not the best tyres to be on for this point. We get a little bit held in the pits, but we are still going to come out in the same position that we were. Actually, no, we're not. Daniel Ricciardo's behind us. Wait, Daniel Ricciardo was behind us when we came into the pits. We overtook him in lap what? Not lap 1, turn 2. Turn 2. There we go. As you see, Hamilton charging down the pit straight. He's going to be side by side with Esteban Ocon. Now side by side with the Ferrari, former reigning world champion Charles Leclerc. Number 1 on his car is now behind Lewis Hamilton. I believe Hamilton has jumped him in the pit stops with those warmer tyres. And you see he's pulling out a little bit. Sebastian Vettel, our old teammate in the pits, is now up ahead. I believe that's Lando Norris coming out the pits. He's going to cause a bit of confusion here. He's jumped right in the middle of the train on cold, hard compound tyres, as he's going to be a bit of a problem for us, as he's come out right in front of us. We got to get past him. We're in a McLaren sandwich at the moment, wanting to get past the McLaren ahead of us to try and defend from the McLaren behind, as we're going to go for the run on Lando Norris. Not quite got those hard compound tyres up to temperature yet, has the McLaren, as we're going to go side by side into turn 2. We have the outside line, we'll turn into the inside line, and we're passed on the McLaren. We force him wide, and his teammate Daniel Ricciardo gets through on Lando Norris. So yeah, double overtake for us. Well, not double overtake, we just double falling back, double getting overtaken for Lando Norris. As Pierre Gasly finally comes into the pits on lap 21. Did he start on the hards or was he on the mediums? But now Hamilton and Leclerc fighting again, as there's a bit of a three-way battle here for, I believe that's P4 in this race. You see we're slowly closing up on this battle. We're making up lots of positions in this race, as now we are right on the back of this train. Esteban Ocon, there's Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton for P4 in this race. Carlos Sainz is the fastest lap of the race. We're not going for fastest lap, but we are going for the overtake on the Frenchman Esteban Ocon. Charles Leclerc is up the road. Can we use his slipstream? He pulls out the side of Hamilton. We're going to fight with Esteban Ocon. We're ahead of the Alpine. Oh, Hamilton's off. Hamilton's run wide. He's in the gravel trap. That is brilliant for our race. It's ruined his race, as he's going to have to sit there so he doesn't enter the track, re-enter the track unsafely as he gets going again. I believe he's in P10 for the Mercedes man, but we're now to P5. We've gone from P20 to P5. Pierre Gasly sets the fastest lap of the race, showing that our car definitely has the pace. But he's in last place in this race. Did he have to pit again for wing damage? Oh, that's a bit sad for Pierre, but hey, we're fighting for P4, and at this point our engineers told us that Verstappen has an issue, so we're catching up to Verstappen. He's fighting with Carlos Sainz. That's going to lose him even more time, which is great for us, because with Verstappen's issue, I believe his issue might be that he doesn't have DRS or something, because I didn't see it open. Oh, actually no, he's behind. I'm trying to work out what his issue is. I'm going to say he's either on low fuel mode or his DRS isn't working. Actually no, but he's losing time to us, so it must be ERS or fuel related. So I'm going to stop contemplating about what Max Verstappen's got and focus on overtaking Charles Leclerc, because right now with Max Verstappen's issue, if it goes to anything else, we could be on chance for our very first podium in Formula 1. So now we're back on board with Lewis Hamilton. What's the Mercedes driver going to do? He spun it going through the Villeneuve chicane. Not able to gel with this car on the hard tyres in this second half of the race. He seemed fine at the start, but now he's just falling back and back and back. A day to forget for the 7-time world champion. Pretty similar to what Imola was in 2022 in real life for Hamilton, but now we don't have DRS activated. We don't want to pass Charles Leclerc because we don't want him to sit behind in our DRS. He makes a bit of a mistake defending thin air there, as we're not going for the move, as we just want to charge our ERS up at this point. With Leclerc only 2 tenths ahead of us, and Verstappen a little while up the road. We're kind of contemplating at this point, trying to get into the Vint mode, that P4 is probably the best that we're going to have to get in this race, and we're going to have to play this tactically. As Pierre Gasly's in the pits again, as there's yellow flags ahead. There's yellow flags ahead. It's Red Bull. It's George Russell. The Red Bull of George Russell. I believe he's got engine failure. Yes, he's going slow. He's pulling off the track. The P1 man, George Russell, has had an engine failure. We're now fighting for P3 in this race with Charles Leclerc, and we have a massive advantage of being behind with DRS. We've got no one breathing down our neck, as we're now on the fight for our very first podium in Formula 1 for starting in P20 on the grid. Can we do it? Come on, this is what we need to do. Lap 30 onto 31 now. Leclerc's right ahead of us. We're closing in on the Ferrari. We're also still closing in on Max Verstappen. He's only 3.5 seconds ahead of us. Can we maybe get P2 in this race? It's a possibility, but we've got to clear Charles Leclerc first as we go past the Ferrari. Turn 1 up the inside. We're now past the Ferrari and we're into the podium places. 2.7 seconds to Verstappen with just under 2 laps to go in this race. Sainz is 100% won this race, but for now Verstappen is our target. We have him in our sights, and for the old adage, if you can see them you can catch them, especially when they have an engine issue in this race. It's on to lap 32 now. Still going to try and catch Verstappen. Not too far ahead of us now, but we're under 10% ERS as now he is right in our sights. Can we maybe get the run on him in the last few straights? Straight line speed has always seemed to be our advantage in these races. We're right behind him. He's in a bit too far ahead though. We're probably more under pressure from Charles Leclerc than we are pressuring Max Verstappen in this race, as I believe P3 is what we're going to have to settle for. Charles Leclerc still got more I can't speak. Charles Leclerc still got more ERS than us. We're going to hold it through the final 2 corners as now we cross the line in P3 for our first ever podium in Formula 1. What a race from ourselves. P20 to P3. Driver of the day, I would be sad if we didn't get it. As P20 to P3, that's a massive achievement for our first podium in Formula 1. As, oh, that felt good. That was a nice race. That was a really nice race. P3 maybe could have been P2 if we played it a bit more tactically. We get to finally see that brilliant looking helmet, the purple and the yellow. Carlos Sainz wins the Italian Grand Prix in Italy for Ferrari. But I don't really care who's won this race. We're in P3. Our best result ever in Formula 1 has been I believe it was P4. I have no clue where we got it, but I seem to remember being P4. But we're on the podium for the first time for AlphaTauri. Oh, that felt good. That felt really good. Well, that's kind of ignited our hopes a bit that we can do a P20 to a P3. I guess the only thing we can look forward to now is maybe getting a win in Formula 1. Maybe not in an AlphaTauri though, but if we keep up these P3 performances, we might be able to just sneak into that second seat at Red Bull for maybe next season, maybe halfway through this season. I could be foreshadowing here because this is filmed. I'm a lot further in the season when I filmed it. But we're now into P6 in the driver's standing. 25 points as we got the same points as we had from 1 win from 4 races now. Yeah, AlphaTauri and P5 were already 4 places up on what they were last time. But if you guys have enjoyed our first podium Formula 1, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time for the Miami Grand Prix. Bye bye.